Hey guys, what's going on? It's Irving here from the Cake Tap. Today we have something a little bit different for you. Today we have brownies made with Founders Breakfast Stout. Now this is a recipe I've been collaborating with the Beer Bros. At the end of this video, I'll link to their video. They're doing the same brownies with this stout in it. Different recipe though. They're doing their take on it. So I'll link to their video at the end. What we're doing here is we're just figuring out a way that brownies and this beer goes together. I like fudgy brownies, so this is a recipe based around the fudgy brownie, not a cakey brownie that has baking powder or anything in that. So this is my version of it. So yeah, stay tuned and watch the recipe and see how I made this. Alright, for our ingredients list today, we have half a cup or 4 ounces of Founders Breakfast Stout. We have 4 ounces of unsweetened chocolate, 1 whole stick of butter. We have 1.5 cups of sugar. We have 3 large eggs, 1/4 a cup of cocoa powder, a pinch of salt, not that whole dish, just a pinch, half a cup plus 2 tablespoons of flour. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to reduce the beer. I need about 2 ounces of the beer, not 4. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is reduce that by half, obviously. We're going to put this beer into the pot here. And we're going to put it over the stove for about 5 minutes until it reduces to about half. Once we're done with that, we can pour it into the rest of our batter. But let's get started first so we get time to do the other things. So let's go ahead and get that on the stove and get that reduced. Alright, so now we have to go on to step number 2, which is melting the chocolate. We could melt the chocolate right over the stove. We could put it in the microwave. There's a whole host of ways we could do this. The best and safest way to do it is doing over double boiler. What is a double boiler? A double boiler is simply water in a pan with another vessel on top of it. In this case, a bowl. What happens is that the steam that comes off of the water that's in the pan here, in the saucepan, heats up the bowl, right? So the bowl never gets above the steam's temperature, and the steam always maintains the same temperature of 212 degrees. So this bowl or the chocolate inside of it will never get beyond 212 degrees, thus never burning the chocolate. Versus putting it on the stove or putting it in the microwave, you're not going to burn your chocolate. So what we're going to do here is we have some water in this bowl here, in this saucepan. We're going to put the bowl on top. We're going to take our chocolate, dump that right in, and a whole stick of butter. Yes, a whole stick of butter. This is not your non-fat or diet brownies here. If you wanted that, you shouldn't be eating brownies in the first place. So let's go ahead and get this on the stove. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and place the bowl over the boiling water. I'm going to go ahead and stir this up and until it starts melting. It's going to take some time, so just be patient and just continue to stir. It will melt and it'll start to look something like this here, where you have some of the butter still there, and at that point you want to go ahead and grab the beer that you've reduced and pour it in. You have about a 1/4 cup of beer at this point, which is half of what we had before, which includes all of the flavor, just less of the liquid. We don't really want the liquid too much, we just want the flavor. So continue to stir that in there until all the lumps have been gone. There's no more butter in there, and just scrape down those sides and just make sure everything is incorporated. Alright, now that we have the chocolate melted and the beer in the chocolate, let's go ahead and sweeten this thing up. So what I have here is 1.5 cups of sugar. I want to go ahead and just mix that in to my chocolate here. What this is going to do is going to help it cool, right? While at the same time sweetening my chocolate, because remember, this is unsweetened chocolate. Alright, now that we have this chocolate and the sugar incorporated, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and incorporate the eggs. Now we're going to do 1 egg at a time. Don't dump them all in at the same time, alright? Don't get a little ambitious here. So what we're going to do is 1 egg, right? 1 egg, stir. Alright. Good for now. Alright, got 1 incorporated. Get the next one in there. Alright, 2 eggs. This is looking delicious. I wish you could smell this. All right, last egg here. Alright, you want to go ahead and make sure you mix everything in here very well. You could be using a whisk at this point, or you could have been using a whisk all along. That is totally fine. It might actually be better than this spatula, but it's what I grabbed. So you just make sure everything is well incorporated. Alright, now that we have our eggs and our sugar incorporated into the chocolate and beer, what I'm going to go ahead and add another layer of chocolate. All right, and this is the 1/4 cup of the cocoa powder. So we're just going to go ahead and lay that in there. Now, rubber spatula comes in really handy because you get to scrape down the sides of the bowl here and just incorporate things very, very well. All right, now we have this incorporated. What we're gonna do next is add a pinch of salt. I know I have here a whole little dish of salt. We're not gonna use a dish, it's just for presentation. We're just gonna use a nice broad pinch. All right, that just brings out the flavor of the chocolate and just brings out flavors of everything that's in there. All right, we're not looking to get salty. It's just to bring out the flavors. All right, now we got the sugar, the salt and the cocoa powder incorporated. Last thing is the flour. All right, if you weren't using it, you could have been using a whisk up until this point, totally fine. But at this point, you do need to grab a spatula. All right, what we're gonna go ahead and do is just dump in the flour. Now, again, this is 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons. All right, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna fold this in. All right, when I mean fold, just literally fold. Fold. All right, carefully. All right, you don't want streaks, but you do want to incorporate things very well. All right. All right, let's come together here. All right, and once we have it well combined here where you don't see any more flour or any more clumps in here of flour, you want to go ahead and put it off to the side because you are done. Your batter is pretty much done. What we're going to go ahead and do now is I pre-lined a baking sheet in parchment paper. All right, so what I'm going to do is dump it in here, put it in the oven for 350 degrees for about 35 minutes. All right, so let's go ahead and do that now. All right, let's get this thing in the oven. All right, once the brownies have cooled, you can go ahead and take them out of the sheet here. Should be done it right. It's clean in here, and all you have to do is lift them right out. And you can go ahead and start cutting. I'm going to cut these in thirds here. All right, there you have it, the recipe for fudgy brownies made with Founders Breakfast Stout. Now, for more recipes like this, the Beer Bros actually made the same exact brownie with Founders Breakfast Stout. They did a little bit of different style, different recipe. So for more of this, or to find if fudgy brownies aren't your thing, click on this video here just to see what they did with brownies and Founders Breakfast Stout. And let's see who has the better brownie. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, cheers.
So for our final course of the week, we have brownies.
Some powdered sugar in this piece.
Yeah. Nice presentation.
Look at that. There's 2 little raspberries at the bottom there.